everyone, this is Lori with Quilters Headquarters in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Today we are working on Nature's Lodge. This is designed by Wing and a Prayer Designs, and the fabric is from Timeless Treasures, Tonga Batiks. And we will be working on block 2 today, right there. This one's a relatively easy block, so let's get started. I have my instruction sheet right here. My fabrics are all cut out, and the first thing we're going to do is work on our half square triangles. So we will be taking we're going to be using our 3 1/4 inch squares of fabric 3 and 7. Let me grab those here. This is fabric 3, my 3 1/4 inch, and 7 is this green, and I need to find my 3 1/4 inch, those. And according to the directions, make a total of 8 half square units. So I will be using 4 of fabric 3 and 4 of fabric 7. Okay, let's get started. Turn my machine on here. And I'll get my iron warming up over here on the side that you can't see. Maybe I'll turn my camera later and show you my ironing setup. All right. So, and let's see. I'm going to pause the camera while I change my thread color. Okay, I'm back. I put a different thread color on. It is I like to piece with Masterpiece thread, and this color is called Nightscape. I like Masterpiece. It's a 50 weight thread, so it helps me get to that 1/4 inch seam a little better because it is thin. All right, so you've probably seen in a lot of my other videos my diagonal seam tape that I use instead of marking, drawing lines down the middle, sewing on either side, or drawing both sewing lines such as right here. Our goal is to sew 1/4 inch away from the center line. So I use my seam tape, diagonal seam tape, and I am going to, let's see, I'll zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to sew without marking. So what I do is I set my corner right alongside my 1/4 inch foot, and I'm going to follow this outside line, which is a 1/4 inch away from the center. So I'll show you what I mean here. So I get a couple stitches in. I set my corner right on the side of my 1/4 inch foot. I get a couple stitches, or 1 or 2 stitches is all, and then I line this corner up with the outside black line right here, and I follow that all the way up as I sew. And there's my 1/4 inch line away from the center. So I'll continue to do that on both sides. We'll cut these in half and then trim them down. Okay, I'm back. For some reason my camera decided to stop running. So before I noticed it, I cut my half square triangles in half. And so I think you guys know what we're doing there. We're just cutting corner to corner. And now I'm going to take it over to my iron, and I will be pressing. I believe, I'll let you know how I press when I get back. Most likely I'm going to press open. Okay, I'm back. I pressed them to the dark side. I like to press to one side when it's feasible. And since these are not, let's see if I can get this in focus. So these blocks are not creating a great big bulk there. It's not like they're all meeting right in the middle or like that or something. So it's okay to press to one side with these. Sometimes I press open when I'm meeting several different seams. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these now. The directions say to trim to 2.5 inch square. I like to use my Quilters Select ruler simply because it does not slide. It has this nice coating on the back, and so I can lay my fabric down like so. Get the line on there, right on that seam. And then I can slide this around like this. So see how my fabric stays underneath of it? So it's pretty cool. So I'm going to straighten that out, and I'll trim to 2.5 inches. So I have all 8 done. They're all 2.5 inches. And the next step is to make this block right here. And so I already have my 2.5 inch, there we go, my 2.5 inch squares cut here out of fabric 3 and fabric 6. So we will make four of these units. All right, easy peasy. We'll set them up. Okay, I'm back. I don't know what's going on with my camera, but it seems to want to quit running. So and then I sewed 2 of these together wrong. So we're just having one of those days. But I'm going to keep at it. It's a fairly simple block to make. I'm certain we can do it. Okay, sew back onto my ender, snip that off. Now is a good time for my cutting gizmo. Oopsie. Oh, you guys, this is crazy. Oh, wait. Gotta hook up my microphone. I'm just having a time today. Apparently, if you bump the camera, it's gonna shut off. So I'm not quite sure how to fix that, but it does like to bump, shut off. All right, so here we go. Put my microphone back on. If we get this block done, it'll be a miracle, I think. If I get it done, you guys won't have any trouble, I'm sure. All right, so I was about to show you the cutting gizmo. So when you're chain piecing and you have a whole bunch of stuff strung together like this, this is the cutting gizmo. You can cut them apart really fast and easy. All right, so we have, let me see, where is my, it'll be right here. All right, so it didn't shut off again. No, I'm still rolling. That's good. All right, so I'm just going to finger press these open. I will press to the full square. All right. Oh, you guys, anybody that knows me knows that finger pressing isn't going to do me. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have them pressed and laid out. They're all laid out. Each layer is laid out the way they're supposed to be sewed together. So I'm going to turn them around like this, and I will sew those together. Okay, so I'm going to nest that seam right there. Get my handy dandy stiletto so I can use that to hold it together right on the seam. And I'm going to have to ease this one in a little bit because it just seems to be a little long. Use my stiletto to do that. And get my next one. You might be wondering why I have this blue tape here. I have the blue tape here so that, can you see that on the camera? Ah, you can't. Here, I'll slide it ahead. So I have my little blue tape here. That's because when I have a light piece of fabric that I need to match up, especially white, it's hard to do that on this surface, so I just lay it on my blue tape, and then I can see that I have the two lined up. Oh shoot, I gotta quit moving it. I think that's when my camera's shutting off, is when I accidentally bump it. Alright, here we go. This one's just a little long too, so I'm going to just ease it in so they match right there on the edge. Sometimes it can stretch when you're pressing, or maybe you didn't cut it just perfect. Okay, I'm back. My camera keeps cutting out, so I'll try to keep my eye on it. But so here is the blocks that I've sewn together. I did, of course, I'm going to show you the best one. You know, it meets perfect. And I did press them so that one side goes this way and the other side goes that way. One side that way, that side way. And that way you can split these and they'll lay flat right there. So I like doing that when it's possible. All right, so the next thing our instructions tell us to do is to make half square triangles of fabrics 4 and 9 and 3 and 9. So here's my fabric 3 and 9, and here's my fabric 4 and 9. So we will be trimming these down eventually to 4.5, but we're making, in the long run, we're making quarter square triangle units. The first step is to make the half square triangle units, and then we will sew down a 1/4 inch each side of the middle. We'll cut those in half just like we did the smaller ones, but we won't trim them down just yet. So I'll go ahead and sew those. I might have to mark these because my tape is not long enough. If I were to make longer tape, it wouldn't be a problem. But I have my handy dandy quilter's wand and my handy dandy, I think it's 9mm white chalk pen by BOM. And let's see, is everything on camera? Yes, it is. All right, so I'm going to sew or draw the lines this time and sew right on them. This is a white marking pencil. It's chalk. So it shows up rather nicely, don't you think? Can you see that? Yeah, that shows pretty good. I'll do this one. I really like this pen. Nice fine lines, not too thick like some chalk pencils are. And of course, if you're interested, I have all the gadgets I sew with and talk about I have them all available at quiltersheadquarters.com. All right, so I will go ahead and sew. This time I'm sewing right on the lines I just drew. Alright, a few extra threads in there for some reason. Just trim them out. Alright, do the other side. Alright, and next I'm going to cut right down the middle and then press. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut these units in half this way. Yeah, I know, right? So we didn't square them up. Don't square them up yet. We're going to cut them all in half. You know, between the camera trouble I'm having, it shut off again. You guys would probably notice that. And the fact that I'm working from a kit, a shop kit, so the designers always send us a shop kit before the fabric comes out so that we can make it ahead of time. So you know how kits are. If you screw up, you might not have enough fabric. So I'm trying not to screw up. So it did say to cut them in half, and then sew an A-B triangle together like so. I guess I would have probably preferred to sew them together and then cut them. But I'm doing it like the directions say, so we will do that. So we're sewing them together like this. So let me get them all lined up so that I don't make any mistakes. And then when we hit these sewed up, we'll square them up together. Okay, another day. Hopefully the technology goes a little bit better. I did give up last night because my phone kept shutting off. Tomorrow, I'm going to go buy a new phone. This one is 6 years old. So old they won't even take a trade-in. So I'm cutting my half square triangles apart. I am going to press them open. Look at that. Is that cool or what? Perfect. I will press them most likely like this. All right. And then I will come back and trim. Okay, so I have them all pressed. I pressed to different sides. So this goes this way, this goes that way, so that I can press this little doodad right there open. Kind of see that? And so now what we're going to do is we're going to trim these down to 4.5 inches. The best tool I have learned to use for trimming down a 1/4 square triangle unit. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. All right, might have been a little too much. The best tool I think to use for this is the Tucker trimmer. And the reason I say that is because of this. So if I were to lay, for instance, my regular 6.5-inch ruler on here, which I love the Quilters Select rulers, don't get me wrong, but the first thing you have to do is find out where this middle point is. Let's see if I can get out of the shadow. So where is the middle point? Well, the middle point is going to be half of 4.5, which is 2.25. All right. Where is the 2.25 inch on this ruler? It is 2.25 right there. Right there. See that? No, I don't either. It's too hard. But if I use the Tucker trimmer, here is, I'll move this out of the way, 2.5 inches right there. Okay, well, that's fine and well, but the first thing we have to do is find where the half of 2.5 is. And the half of 2.5 is right here. This line is a solid line, always goes down one of your seams. Always laid on one of your seams. And then to cut the 2.5, well, 4.5 is what I really want. 4.5, I'm going to lay it right there. Pull it down. So this is my 4.5 line. Right there is the middle of a 4.5-inch square. So I lay that right there down to the middle of my 4.5 inch. So I find again my 4.5 inch line here and my other seam line here. I lay those two right on the seam line. I do not have to find the invisible 2.25 inch seam line, right? It's perfect right there. I'm going to go ahead and trim that. Here's my trimmer. So there's that side trimmed, the top trimmed. Before I pull it away, I always make sure everything got cut. All right, this is my good corner, right? I'm going to turn that down to the bottom left. Now, if you're left-handed, you would have just done the opposite. You would have trimmed up the left-hand side into the top and then turned it around this way. Now, this is the good corner that I just trimmed. So now I'm going to find my 4.5 inch line here and here and lay that on my good corner. And then this too should all line up. Let's see. All right, so I've got 4.5 here, 4.5 here. This is lined up and this is going to line up as soon as I straighten it out. Doesn't that look perfect? All I have to do now is trim this. I find the Tucker trimmer is the perfect tool for this. And there I have a perfect 4.5 inch block with my center exactly at 2.25, and I didn't have to find that invisible 2.25 inch mark that's somewhere right there. Oops. Right? All right, I'm going to step away and trim the other 4 units, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And now this is the block we're making, block 2. I almost freaked out for some reason. I thought I was on block 3 and it didn't look the same. So I have it laid out. All I'm going to do now is sew it together. I always go right sides over left. I will get it sewn together and I'll show you how I press it when I get done. I'll be right back. Okay, I got my 3 rows sewed together. I did press them open. I found that, geez, the lights. I found that this part right here, it just got a little too thick, so I pressed them open. And now I'll just turn them around like so, and we'll continue sewing. I'm going to put a pin right here just to match that seam, and I will ease it in with my handy dandy stiletto. Especially when you're doing these triangle parts, it sometimes will get a little too fat. My ends are coming out pretty good, so I'll just keep on going. All right. I'll end up pressing this open as well. Turn that around and we will sew this together. It's matching pretty good right there. Didn't press that one very good. I'm going to give that a little pin right there just to match it up. Let's see, I'll pin it behind here. Ooh, that's a lot to ease in, but we can do it. See, it eased in just fine. See this little guy tipping up right here? I can get him with my stiletto and turn him in. Perfect. Take my pin out. All right. I'm going to press open. I don't know if you noticed my handy dandy light. I might have to put this on gadget finders. It's an auxiliary light that we buy. So kind of a difference. It's from New Tech, and we have them in the store. And you just plug them in. I actually have mine plugged into my USB port right here on my phone, or on my sewing machine. So I do like it. It's a nice bright light when I need it. Anyway, I'm going to press this open. I'll be right back. Okay, there you have it. Block 2 complete. I did press most of these seams open. I pressed all the rows open, and the sewing all the rows together, and then those rows together, if you know what I mean. So most everything is pressed open on this block. She doesn't give us explicit directions, so I like to go wherever it's going to lay flattest. So there we have it, block 2. I will put links down below to all the little gadgets I've used in this series. Thanks for joining us.